Okay, now looking at organizational culture, the definition being the shared values and beliefs that would underlie a company's identity. Basically the way we do things around here. The things that we value. What's the norm? We have over here, a lot of times companies, their culture is based on the beliefs and the value systems of the founder. You can also see the culture in the tone of the communication, the attitudes of people. Maybe you have been in a building or gone to a business and are people friendly or are they cold? We can tell with the tone. Is their personality kind of rigid or are they open? Are they smiling? Another thing that goes into organizational culture is the priorities. If top management's priority is, in general, we could say two things, operation focused or customer focused. If the organization and the employees know the real priorities of the company. Is it the paperwork and the processes and the rules and the policies, or is it about the customer and not so worried about the little details and all of this, but taking care of the customer and having that freedom to take care of the customer in any way that they can. You'll also see it, the culture and how people dress. If you can't be professional, at least you can look professional. I think that's what I see around town. More attention is placed on how people dress than how people act and serve the customer. So you might have, if it's real formal, is it rigid or is it laid back? Award systems within the company, that goes into the culture too. There also might be myths and stories that shape the culture. The founder might have been a hero. The founder may have, worked 24 hours a day for 10 years and only, had $1 to start the company. And that says a lot about the drive, the will for success that the founder went through and the spirit that the employee should have. Those can be very valuable. My former boss, starting out broke, actually flew to Vegas, according to the myth and the legend, and gambled his petty cash and won and came back and paid his employees. The company might also have a list of values, but the list of values might be real and they might not be real. I'll get into that in a second. Rituals. Some companies have huddles in the morning. Some companies have family day. They might have an award ceremony and things like that. When I first came here, when I was about to come here, I read on the internet that the faculty and the staff got together on Friday afternoons on the back lawns to have scones and tea, whatever the heck a scone is. A scone and hot tea, I guess. If that's the ritual, I mean, I was really going, I don't think I want to be having scone and tea with my coworkers on Friday afternoon. But I think what they're trying to get across was we're a family and we enjoy spending time together. The culture, the way we do things around here, tells the employees what's acceptable behavior and what's not acceptable behavior. When the employee comes into the organization, they quickly, unless they're oblivious, quickly notice what's appropriate behavior and what's not. Here again, the culture might be friendly, it might be cold. The power distances between the managers and the employees would tell you something about the culture. The rules and the policies enforcing what the priorities are, and the language that's used. So is it very formal or is it friendly? So 2 points we have here. We have two classifications of values, I'll say. We have declared values. These are stated values and norms that are preferred, by the organization. The organization says we are this and we are that, and then they communicate that to the employees. These are declared values. Now we have adopted values. The values and norms that are exhibited by the employees and can be seen in the employees' behavior. So sometimes the stated or declared values, they don't make it to the bottom. If you have a weak culture, they might say we have this value, but, and then it gets down to the employees and it's non-existent. It's not exhibited and it can't be seen in the employees' behavior. So what we're searching for here is kind of like searching for the truth. And sometimes the declared values are false. You have to be very careful with that. They might say the declared values are customers and customer service. But then when the customer asks for their money back, do they get it? Nope. So what is the value? The value isn't customer service, it's the bottom line. You think about a fried egg. I think they call it sunny side up, where it's a little, the yolk is a little runny. And you serve that to the customer who says, no, I don't like runny eggs. Well, you're gonna have to pay for it. When they could have taken that plate back and brought out another one, you know, for 30 cents, cooked another egg and cooked it a little bit longer. But if the waitress or waiter says, nope, it's against policy, we know, even though the declared value was customer service, we know that the real value is money. They might also say that we are a family around here. I'm sure some of you have heard that. We have a family-like culture. We're into relationships and being friendly and cuddly and cozy with everybody. Yet, somebody just got fired. So much for that family value, right? You might also hear some companies say we're innovative. We're innovative. But then you look and go, nothing's changed around here for years. But we're innovative. So declared innovative. What's real is nothing's changed in years. You might also hear we're about the environment. We're about society. We're about sustainable development. Yet things are getting dumped into the river. So there's some problems. And when you look at this, we're talking about here's the declared and here's the truth. So really, the declared value, let's say the stated value and norms are customer service, the customer is always right, customers come first. And then we get down to the bottom and the employees won't look at the customers in the eye. They avoid the customers, they alienate the customers, they're not friendly at all, they're short with the customers, they're not willing to help. You know that they didn't just make that up. Well, it could be that the culture is weak and the message didn't get down here and didn't get adopted. But the other scenario is they stated value is not the real value. So really, the values of the company come down to the employee's behavior, and that might tell us the truth. Now, the purpose of why do we have a culture? Well, number one, looking at this, the culture has to be monitored and managed. Sometimes cultures wobble. You think you got a strong, positive culture, and it slips on you. So negativity slipped into the room. The culture wasn't as strong and instilled in people as you thought it was, and it began to slip. So it's important for the manager, the CEO, to monitor and manage the culture. Culture is really everything when you get down to it, how we do things around here. I know of a case of a CEO of a huge corporation. I went and talked to some of my friends a few years ago and I said, how is it still go? Are you still at that place? They go, yeah. I said, well, how is it? They say, it's not good at all. And I said, what's not good about it? It was good 10 years ago. Well, things got worse. And when the corporation did a big survey to monitor and manage their culture, they found out that people weren't happy. The culture was becoming toxic, and the CEO, once they found out about this, they were blown away. As the founder of the company, they wanted the culture to be positive. They were all about people. They wanted people to be happy. But when they did the surveys, they found out people were miserable. Well, what would you say if it was you? Well, this CEO said, this is not what I'm about. How did this happen? I'm sorry you're unhappy. I am going to get to the bottom of it, and we are going to become a happy team again. That's the sign of a great CEO. Sure, they slipped up and let the culture go down a little bit, but they were there to catch it and bring it back up to where they wanted it to be. Okay, so the culture must be monitored and managed, or else you might suffer the slippage. The culture gives employees a predictable environment. I know this is what we're about. Now that might be a good culture or a bad culture, but this is what we're about. I know it's going to be like this tomorrow. It's predictable. Everyone is on the same page. People study the culture. When they come into the organization, they adopt and get in there, or they get rejected. Everybody before long is on the same page because it's about the culture. Organizational identity. You think about the people you see on the streets wearing their uniform. I'm thinking of one major place in town, and I see people in their uniform, and I automatically kind of know what they're going to be like because I have an idea of how the culture is there. And when they're wearing that uniform and the values, that makes them part of the organization. So that's the organizational identity. It also shapes behavior. Obviously, we find out what is acceptable behavior. And we know if we don't do the acceptable behavior, we're going against the culture. So it kind of tells people what to do in the workplace. Now, last is culture is in the conversation. If you can catch an employee away from work, or say out in the parking lot with a coworker, the culture is in the conversation. The corporate image and things might be all rosy, but if you listen to the conversation of employees away from work, where they can't be heard, there's your real culture. See, it might be, oh, we're about this and that and everything is this, but when you go here, the employees are going, I hate this and I hate that and this and that and other. So the culture is actually in the conversations. Actually, you, the ones that are working, when you go home and talk to your relatives about your work and your work day, you're explaining the real culture, your perceptions of the culture. So really, the culture is in the conversation. Listen to the conversations and what they have to say about the business, and there's your real culture as well. Okay, so there we go. Culture. You got to manage your culture, monitor it, keep it positive. Once you get a good, strong, positive culture, chances are the employees will protect that culture, the beliefs and the norms. You get it all good, it's all good, and the employee is going, we got a great place to work, let's have fun. And then maybe a new hire or somebody who hasn't been, somebody gets upset. That employee who's positive will protect the culture and say, hey, you misread that. That's not what we're about. I know it. Let's just calm down and talk about it. So that's beautiful when you have employees protecting the positive culture. So there you go, organizational culture.